when everyone's selling on Etsy, we're all fighting for the same shoppers. And if we're all using print on demand, for example, and we're using maybe Printify, we're all using the same print providers, the same products for the same cost, for the same shipping costs, for the same lead times, the same quality, the same defect rates. It's all the exact same.
Sure.
The only way you can stand above the competition is design. How can we make our design stand above the competition when you're not a graphic designer? So the way that we were able to do that was to do a simple design, but incorporate personalization to make it better for a marketplace that thrives on personalization.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Coffee with Kittl. Today's episode is going to be amazing because we're getting a full demo of a program called Hello Custom. Now, I've got Steven here with me. He's the owner, founder, one of the top Etsy sellers, I believe, in the world, who has created a phenomenal personalization tool that actually will do it for you. So when someone, just get this, when someone clicks to purchase your shirt personalized on Etsy, his program is going to do that for you, so you never have to do it. So please keep watching because he's going to give us a full demo of that later. But we're going to talk about the importance of personalization and how to do it. And maybe if you're not doing it, why it's a good idea. But before that, why don't you just share with us a little bit of your experience, a little bit of your background on Etsy?
Yeah, Drew, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here. So I've been selling on Etsy for a little over 3 years now. I got started back in June of 2020 during the peak of COVID, where if you were selling on Etsy at that time, it was very popular to sell face masks, right? So I launched a face mask company during the peak of COVID. We launched that with a little plastic black table in my garage. We got 17 sales my first day. Again, leveraging a pandemic. We ramped that to 500 sales a day by day 5. We ended up becoming one of the top face masks Etsy shops on Etsy. We ended up having a warehouse, 15 employees, doing 1,000 face masks a day. It was amazing. But as we all know, the face mask mandates ended, and the business literally died overnight. So that was kind of my crash course on Etsy. That's how I made my first $1 million on Etsy, was leveraging the pandemic with face masks.
Wow.
At that time, we had a warehouse, we had employees, we had equipment, we had a newfound love for Etsy and a newfound knowledge for selling print products. So at that time, we decided to just kind of rebuild, relaunch our shop as just a general print shop. Since then, it's been 2 years now. We've sold more post the pandemic than during the pandemic. So we've sold, I think, an additional 1.8 million on Etsy, so almost 3 million lifetime. We sold over 200,000 products on Etsy. And everything that we do now is personalized. And that kind of was what kind of segued us into our product now, Hello Custom. So that's kind of like my origin story, kind of leading into what we're working on now with Hello Custom.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a lot of work coming from the actual physical side of doing something like face masks, and the sheer volume that it takes to get to 1 million in sales. That sounds pretty intense. And then the ability to kind of bounce back and say, okay, well, masks are over. Now we've got to find something else to do, right?
Yeah, it was definitely it was kind of it was pretty crazy in the middle of it, right? So we went from 0 to like 500 a day on a single plastic table in my garage. The printer was still in the box. I had no idea what I was doing.
Oh my gosh.
Thousands of masks backlogged. I ended up working like 16 hours a day for the next 90 days straight. At the time, I didn't know print on demand was a thing. I thought if you wanted to sell products on Etsy, you had to do it yourself. So that's just what was like, it was sheer just, labor. So if I were to go back in time, I probably would have done it through Printify.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about personalization then for a little bit. And I know for some people, they may already be doing it. I know we have actually a lot of Kittl users doing personalization on things like notebooks, which is super great, right? Because you can have the name of the person, or you can change the year immediately. You don't have to wait to have, or you don't have to have a separate listing that says 2023, 24, 25. You just change it. So I know we have Kittl users right now making quite a bit of money off personalized items. So if you could maybe share, if someone's not, or if they're hesitant, or perhaps if they think that it is too much work, and it can be, as you just illustrated for us, that it became a 16-hour workday. Can you set up why personalization is such a good idea for Etsy?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when the face masks business died, we had to go back to the drawing board of like, if we're gonna go back onto Etsy, how can we ramp this business back up to the numbers that it was doing? So that way we don't have to let anyone go, right? So there's two things that we saw looking into the opportunity. Was one, Etsy as a marketplace. People go to Etsy to buy unique goods that you can't get anywhere else. And as a result, personalized products tend to do better than non-personalized products. So at a marketplace level, personalization does better. I mean, and it makes sense too. Like if there was two mugs in front of you, one said, world's best YouTuber, and one said world's best YouTuber Drew. They're the same price, same quality. Going to get you at the same time. Which one would I buy? Naturally, the one with your name on it, right? So it's just at a marketplace level, it does better. With print on demand, if you're selling print products, print on demand, it's such a low barrier to entry opportunity where we just saw like a lot of people jumping onto the train. So we always thought like, how can we stand above the competition? How can we, when everyone's selling on Etsy, we're all fighting for the same shoppers. And if we're all using print on demand, for example, and we're using maybe Printify, we're all using the same print providers, the same products for the same cost, for the same shipping costs, for the same lead times, the same quality, the same defect rates. It's all the exact same.
Sure.
The only way you can stand above the competition is design. But I would also say that about 99% of people doing print on demand are first-time entrepreneurs who are not graphic designers. So how can we make our design stand above the competition when you're not a graphic designer? So the way that we were able to do that was to do a simple design, but incorporate personalization to make it better for a marketplace that thrives on personalization. So that's kind of what led us down that rabbit hole of like, hey, doing personalized print products for Etsy. That allowed us to be one of the top print shops on all of Etsy. Like during peak seasons, like Christmas, for example, our Etsy shop will rank top 20, top 30 out of 9 million other sellers. So that kind of just shows you the power of selling personalized print products on Etsy. The pain point, so I'm making it sound really beautiful. The pain point of personalization is it's manual. Right. So, especially if you're doing print on demand where Etsy brings you the traffic, your print provider does the fulfillment for you. All you have to do is customer service. It's a semi-automated business once built.
Yes.
Now you can make that manual. Now, every single time an order comes in, you manually have to open up the file and manually have to personalize it, manually have to push it through the print provider. It kind of defeats the whole purpose of the whole business model. It's also slow, tedious, manual. It's error prone. People type with their fingers these days. During Christmas rush, when we're selling 1,000 things a day, we have a computer lab of people just typing names, dates, and addresses, which is super expensive and again error prone. Enough of a pain point going through that for the last 2 years that we just thought like, hey, there has to be a tool out there that can just automate this for us. And if there's not, we need to build it. And there wasn't. So over the last year, I've been on a journey to just build a tool that will completely just automate the personalization for Etsy sellers, but specifically for Etsy sellers doing print on demand, where essentially if a personalized order comes in on Etsy, our software uses AI to automatically personalize the graphic for you. And if you're integrated with Printify right now, it will automatically fulfill it for you too. So what used to take 2 to 5 minutes to personalize the graphic manually, click of a button. What used to take an extra 2 to 5 minutes to manually push that over to Printify, click of a button. So you no longer have to do any hiring or VAs or training or delegating or firing. It's just the AI does all of it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe just briefly before we dive into the demo, is there, just for people to kind of get an idea of a backlog of maybe things they should be getting ready to sell as it relates to personalization, what are some of the items that you believe, some of the products, you've mentioned Printify several times, which is a great platform. What are some of the products that you see most successful with personalization that we should be thinking about listing on our shop?
Yeah. So the cool thing about Printify is they have like 800 products, but I wouldn't say that all of them sell, and especially not all of them sell on Etsy, right? So we're a very small part of the opportunity. I was doing some product research for a previous video a few months ago, and there were 4 products that I found in Printify that are profitable. They're making at least $5 profit per unit.
Oh, wow.
And they do really well on Etsy, meaning I think you can sell at least 10,000 units of that single product category per year.
Yeah.
Naturally, apparel is one of them. There's just people today that I always think like apparel's oversaturated. Everyone's launching apparel. My wife's best friend just started an Etsy shop a month ago, and she made $6,000 revenue in her first month. She doesn't know anything about Etsy, anything about apparel demand. Just apparel, $6,000 in our first month. And my mind was blown. I was like, okay, apparel's not oversaturated.
Yeah.
Started days ago, and they're making $6,000 revenue. So apparel is always an evergreen good product where you put any design on the product and that can sell year round. Another good one is tumblers. So the long 20 tumbler, really good right now. I have a buddy that sold tens of thousands of those over the last year. Another good one is, this is one that not a lot of people are selling, is phone cases. Phone cases was one that I found where there was personalized pattern phone cases. Okay. There's people doing like 10,000 units a year, making like $8 profit. That can supplement someone's salary or a whole household salary, which is phone cases.
Yeah.
But the big one, and the reason why I wanted to say this one for last is because we're going into Q4, and I've sold like 40 plus thousand units of this one product category is Christmas ornaments. So the round ceramic flat Christmas ornaments for the Christmas rush. So personalized Christmas ornaments during the peak 30 days before Christmas, we'll sell like 1,000 a day. So if,
Oh my gosh.
if you're just getting started, if you're looking like for like the next product to launch, we're going into Q4. There's plenty of time to launch the next 100 listings. Time to rank those to be able to just capitalize on personalized Christmas ornaments during December. So that's a huge one.
Wow. Okay, that's excellent. I'm super happy that you're able to do like here are the key four. That's great because sometimes we can say like, okay, well it's personalized, just personalize everything. You know what I mean? But the more the more focus you can get on like here are four categories, as well as like, hey, what season is coming up? What's the weather gonna be like? What location are you in? What holidays are coming up? Yeah, all excellent. Well, that's phenomenal. Now we've painted a very happy picture of how profitable personalization can be. But then we also slightly backtracked and said, okay, well, this personalization does come at a cost, right? So your high profitability may also just come with a high workload. So now why don't we jump into your demo of Hello Custom, because we need to put some visuals to the words of what you're explaining. So just for everyone to understand what we're kind of looking at right here, we are post creating a design. So maybe you created this design in something like Kittl. Maybe you used your own design tool like an Illustrator or whatever you want. So we are post having the design on Etsy. So this is an Etsy listing. We're looking at a shirt right here. It says it's a nurse shirt, right, with some florals. And this is what we're looking at in Hello Custom. So Hello Custom has been connected to Etsy. So why don't you walk us through how it works?
Yeah. So the really cool thing about Hello Custom is it's a software that was built by an Etsy seller for Etsy sellers. So kind of knowing the workload, knowing that like, hey, we're not all tech savvy. For some entrepreneurs who are like, we have preferences on like who we want to use for design tools like Kittl, for example. And we don't want to replace anyone as a design tool. So I'm going to jump over to the templates really quick to show you guys a really cool feature is you can create your designs in Kittl. And then like a really cool feature is you can upload your finished design as either a PDF or a PNG. And if you upload your design as a PDF, what we have is a feature where we break down a PDF and convert that back to an editable template. And I'm just going to jump in here really quick and click into an existing template. Is the workload goes is you first have to tell our Hello Custom, what graphic goes to what product and what of the graphic needs to get personalized. And it's super simple. It's a few click of a buttons. This was the graphic for a nurse shirt. We uploaded it. You can title it so that way you have it for internal tracking. You have to tell Hello Custom what graphic on or what product on Etsy does this graphic go to. And you just do that by clicking on product variants. And it's first going to show you a list of all your products. This is our demo account, so that's why they're all the same. Well, you click onto the product that it's meant for, and then it shows all of the SKUs that is within this Etsy listing.
So that's what's sharing. That's what's sharing. That's on Etsy right now. So this shirt is this data is coming from Etsy. Yeah,
exactly. So if you want so essentially all of these SKUs, if this graphic is meant for all of these SKUs, you leave them all selected. But with apparel, for example, some people might have like a black version of the graphic for a white shirt,
yes,
and a white version of the graphic for a black shirt. So you would just unselect, what is not meant for this design, and click on update. So next, you need to tell Hello Custom what needs to get personalized. You tell our AI what needs to get personalized within this graphic. So for example, this is where the name is going to go. So the first thing you do is you click onto it. And this is what we call as the max allowance. Is you set the max allowance, and what that is how wide can the text go before we want to dynamically make the text smaller to not break into two lines.
If
someone had a super long name like Steven, Jason, Chin, and they wanted to put my full name in here, it would make the text a little bit smaller to fit within this parameter. So you set the max allowance, and then you tell Hello Custom with a tag that this is where the name goes. Currently, we can automatically personalize names, dates, addresses, and phone numbers, which sounds a little limited right now. But again, I've sold over 200,000 products. We're a top Etsy shop on Etsy, and we only do text-based personalization, and we only do names, dates, addresses, and phone numbers. So right now, we're still new. We're doing the 80-20, but there's still huge opportunity in just this limited amount of automation. So we just tag this as a name. Now Hello Custom knows is if they type in a name, the name is going to go here. and it's going to use the correct font, the correct color, the correct placement, sizing, and best of all, the correct personalization. Next is this is where the date's going to go. So we click on it, max allowance, tag it as a date, and click on publish. When this product sells on Etsy, Hello Custom will essentially automatically personalize the graphic for you and display it for you in what we call as our approval queue. So this is an approval card, and approval cards are on a per order basis. So if the order has like 5 personalized orders, it would all be within the one approval card. Where what's really cool is if you can click on this here, it would take you to the back end of your Etsy account if you have customer service with the order pulled up.
Nice.
It shows you essentially all of the Etsy order information from like, this is the product, they bought quantity 1, size extra small, color white. The personalization that they typed in on the Etsy listing was, can the name be Samantha Smith and the date be November 2024? So our AI found Samantha Smith as name. As you can see, it put Samantha Smith there, and November 2024 as date and put it here. So Hello Custom automatically personalized this graphic with the correct personalization and displayed it for your approval. If everything looks correct and you're integrated with Printify, all you have to do is click on approve, and it automatically fulfills this order to the shopper on your behalf. If for some reason you need to make any changes or edits to this graphic, all you have to do is click on edit, and then our editor pulls up where you can maybe change it to, maybe they want it to be November 2025, or they changed
Or
it.
NOV instead of November or something.
Yeah, sometimes you get customer service like, hey, actually, can you change it to just Samantha? And so you click on edit the graphic, click on save, and then approve it post changes. If you are an in-house shop like myself, you can download the graphic as either a JPEG, PNG, or PDF for internal reasons, or you can just completely delete it. If they cancel the order, you can just cancel it so it doesn't push over to Printify. So as you can see, it's a few click of a buttons to get the template set up. It's legit once it's built. What used to take 2 to 5 minutes to make the graphic and 2 to 5 minutes to fulfill the product, it's legit now just a click of a button.
So a question that I have, because I know we have some Etsy sellers using Kittl doing personalization, and I think what they've always been taught, and I think this is a good principle, is that once the personalization comes in, they like to send at least some sort of proof back, some sort of at least an image that says, hey, is this right? Because I think my fear or concern would be, I just hit that approve button a bunch of times, and then the customer gets the shirt, and then that's not what they wanted. So is this kind of downloading like what you just showed, like somewhere you were able to download a PNG? Is that something that you would just download, briefly send to the client via message in Etsy, and then you can hit approve? Or what are your thoughts? Or maybe you're like, hey, that's really shouldn't be a concern. I've sold 200,000 products and no one wanted to edit anything.
Yeah, so that's actually a great question. So I think if someone's doing a product where it just has a custom text and you can type in anything you want, any font, any color, or it's just way too just like, the sky's the limit. I think those are the ones where they typically want to see approve. But like
okay. That's a difference yeah.
When the graphic is, I don't know if you can see that, where essentially you see that it looks like this, and the name is, let's go back to the template real quick. And the name is, Sarah Smith in that color, in that font, in that spot, and the date is 2023. The shoppers typically know, like when I put in Stephen Chin 2024,
that's what it's going to look like.
It's going to have my name there and 2024 there. So if it is like a complete design where you're just changing the pieces of the personalization within the already existing graphic, you don't have to send proofs. I've like you mentioned, I've done over 200,000. I've never sent a proof ever in the lifetime of our business.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But if you do that or want to do that, that's when you would probably download as a JPEG first, meshes that over. If you get the approval, then you hit approve first. So
it's still easier though than me duplicating my Kittl project, doing it all over again, exporting the PNG, sending it, then exporting or importing it back into Printify. Still faster, but yes, I see what you mean. It's kind of the difference in the level of personalization. Like, hey, we're not telling you can choose from 50 fonts and 50 colors and 60 backgrounds. It's just like, no, this is just where the text is. So just tell me what it is. Now, second question I have is, this is such a cool demo. It's kind of blowing my mind. So where it says personalization there in Etsy, and I'm still a little bit of an Etsy baby. I kind of mentioned to you on our last call, I have a couple of Etsy stores I'm experimenting with, and I have personalization turned on for a couple of them. Is uh, I'm actually not sure how intense with personalization you can go with Etsy. Can you actually tell Etsy to provide a name field and a date field, or will it always be like this? So then I need to give instructions that say, make sure you say name and make sure you say date in the caption or your personalization text box so your AI can pick it up? Or is there a way for me to give a field to Etsy that says like name, date, da da da, whatever? You know what I'm asking?
Yeah, exactly. So that's a great question. So just want to show you really quick kind of what a visual representation of kind of what you're saying. So
Okay,
so
okay,
on
there you
Etsy, this is why it's been so difficult is on Etsy, independent of the product, you can be selling any product, doing any kind of personalization in the world. And all that Etsy allows you to give to your shoppers is a text box. So
go.
they
Yeah,
have to
okay, all right, yeah.
name what they want, right? You can kind of give them an example, like example, the names and the dates, kind of guide them in the right direction. But they type anything and everything here. They will type in, something sometimes it's clean, like, Steven 2024. Sometimes it's, can the name be Steven and the date be 2024? Sometimes it's love your product, shop is beautiful. Oh, by the way, can the name be Steven and the date be 24? And can I get this by the 28th? They just throw
They
anything and
just start
everything
all
in
the
this
names
text
and
box.
numbers in there, yeah.
And it's super messy, which is kind of why we have to have the AI to be able to read that text and pull out name, plug it there, pull out date, put it here. So there isn't that like this text box is for the name, another text box is for date, and we're able to pull those and copy paste them into the spots. We have to check like the garbage that we're given, but where there's no control, and then use AI to be able to extract it. And I think that's kind of why it's limited to. That's kind of why it's limited to just name, date, address, phone number, because we have to do entity recognition, and it's really complicated to do beyond that with just given text. And that's also why we're just text-based personalization. It's because we're using text to edit text, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I 100%. I mean, it looks like already just from some of what I've seen that the AI in Hello Custom is pretty good at interpreting that. And I guess you could always just, if it looks really weird, you just go in there and edit it and then improve it. It just seems weird to me. I think that that's not a buildable feature that Etsy's provided to you, because I could do that on Squarespace all day. I could sell a shirt and put like 7 fields on there and say, do you want it on the front or the back? Front. What name? Do you see what I mean? Like, just seems interesting. I remember spending about 15 or 20 minutes trying to figure out how to do that, because I set something to personalized in Etsy, and I was like, okay, where do I tell them where to put the name? Like, I was thinking that I was like not able to find it, but yeah, I guess it's just,
that's more Etsy as a marketplace. They try to make it as user friendly and as like not complicated as possible. Like,
sure,
for example, with Etsy, to do Etsy advertising, it's just a click of a button. Do you want Etsy ads? Yes or no? And then if yes, how much per day? And then they do everything on their end.
True.
Versus like Amazon, like we can have like a 5-hour conversation on Amazon advertising and the campaigns and the bidding and the keywords and the all the different exact matches and things like that. But with Etsy, it's just a click of a button. Same thing with the personalization. Like on Shopify, you said you can have a full-on editor with fields and they can edit them themselves. So you can go really dynamic with it on like Shopify, for example. But with Etsy, they like things to be like a click of a button, where it's like, do you want it to be personalized? Yes or no? And if yes, here's a text box where they just give you the instructions. So they try to make it easy, but as a result, for some people who want to have more freedom and flexibility, it actually kind of restricts us a little bit, which caused the pain point for us to try to fix that with Hello Custom.
I know that you mentioned Printify is kind of the main integration right now, and I know we have a lot of users using Printify. They've been on our channel. I've been on their channel. Great products, great customer service, even. But I know a lot of users, including myself. We love our Printful as well. So what's kind of the plan, or can you share us like what kind of integrations that you're going to have? Are you planning to integrate with more providers? Are you planning to integrate with more shop fronts? So if I wanted to put this on my Shopify, can you share with us what the plans are?
Yeah, so that's essentially going to be like the main goal for 2024. So we're spending the rest of this year just kind of like making it more, locked and loaded going into a big busy season. But when things kind of slow down going into 2024, the goal is to go more wide. So what I mean by that is on a marketplace level, we don't really see ourselves maybe integrating with Shopify. I think
Sure.
our value is with third-party marketplaces where you can't put an editor on the product page and you have to do everything using the AI behind the scenes for the seller. So the next integration that we want to work on is Amazon. So though we have Etsy and Amazon, there might be some other third-party marketplaces later, but I think Amazon will be the next one.
Amazon, as in Amazon Seller Central.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
So there's a lot of people right now who are doing print on demand, but they're not selling on Amazon because a lot of, like, for example, Printify doesn't integrate with Amazon.
Oh, I
But
didn't know that
Amazon,
Printful did. Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Printful does. I care about some people do, but Printify doesn't. And as a result, Amazon's a huge marketplace where print products sell like hotcakes, but there's not a lot of people selling on that marketplace. So when there is an opportunity to do that, like for example, last year we threw like 10 ornaments on Amazon. Those 10 were selling as much as our 100 on Etsy because there's just less competition on Amazon.
Huh.
And the reason why I think Amazon is going to be huge, I'm kind of foreseeing this in the next 1 year for print on demand is print products print products that are print on demand tend to not do well on Amazon when they're not personalized because you're competing with merch by Amazon. You're competing with FBA, which is 2-day shipping, versus print on demand it's like 4-day processing and then 6 to 7 days shipping. But when the product is personalized, you can justify that, hey, of course it's not Amazon FBA.
Oh, because it takes, yeah.
Yeah, of course it takes a few days to personalize it. So
Okay.
a buddy of mine, he sells on Etsy and Amazon. He's done $10 million lifetime in the last 5 years. He's done almost 50-50, 50% on Etsy, 50% on
Really?
Amazon. Yeah, so Amazon has a huge opportunity for print on demand if the product is personalized. So like, that's why we want to get onto Amazon next, so we can kind of open up that huge, I think, opportunity for a lot of people. And then on a print provider level is we just went live. So we went live with just one, which the big guy in our industry is Printify naturally.
Sure.
But eventually we want to serve people where they're at. So there are people who are using Printful today. They're looking for like, hey, we can't use you because I use Printful. Or there are people who use like Custom Cats or Gelato or other providers. So we want to be a tool that serves you where you're at and not trying to force you into a direction. So over 2024, we also want to integrate with all the major print providers. That way, if you are using someone other than Printify, we're still a solution for you with those products.
That is absolutely amazing. And I want to make sure that everybody's hearing clearly the difference in Amazon's, because what we're talking about is Amazon Seller Central. So that's different than what maybe all of you listening or all the Kittl users have been thinking about as Amazon merch or merch by Amazon. Actually, just the previous copy with Kittl right before this, Travis and I were actually, Travis from Print on Demand Cast, we were just talking about the difference in those two. So we are not, or Stephen, as I'm hearing it, is not describing the merch by Amazon that everybody keeps getting denied from because apparently it's really hard to join. We are talking about you setting up a legitimate storefront as yourself on Amazon, and you're saying that you want Hello Custom to be integrated with that through whatever print provider is on Amazon. So that's really neat. I didn't know that that was such a high. I mean, of course it is. It's Amazon. So if we just throw that out there, we think, of course, it could be profitable. But my mind always goes to that's the max competition. I mean, it's Amazon. Everybody uses Amazon, right? But then dialing it down or narrowing it back down to customization makes so much more sense. And then you don't have to worry about that 2-day premium look, right?
Exactly. The cool thing about Amazon too is Amazon is huge right now for like private label, where people are like spending all their time, their energy, their money to launch like one branded product. And when everyone's doing like their product research for products for Amazon, not to kind of go down this rabbit hole,
Sure.
is print products don't show up because they're looking for products that are selling like, like 100 a month or 1,000 a month, where that one product can supplement their income. But like the thing with print products is it's numbers with volume. Yes, we're making 10,000 a month across 100 listings. So each listing might be selling one a week. That's not gonna be enough to hit their radar. But they don't realize they have 1,000 of those, and that stacks up, that adds up. So there's a lot of Amazon sellers who aren't even looking at print products or personalized print products as even an opportunity. So the people who are in the print on demand industry, that's why I think it's such a huge opportunity. Is there's not a lot of them on Amazon. I think there's more competition for our products on Etsy than there is on Amazon, but Amazon's a bigger marketplace. So it's like that's why I kind of think it's gonna be a big opportunity, and I kind of think that's kind of where the next opportunity is gonna go. Kind of seeing that here in the near future.
Wow. Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to do some tutorials and conversations on Amazon then, because that's exciting when we get that set up. Maybe the next, the last thing we can kind of talk about is, you mentioned right now with Hello Custom, Maybe what you say is kind of limited, I think is not. I mean, you said you have name, you have date, you have, you know, address, all this stuff. Address is pretty wild. I don't know who's letting you customize the address on there. Maybe an envelope or something. But can you maybe share what your dream is for that kind of customization, like as it relates to, you know, text personalization? Like what more could there be? Like, what do you want Hello Custom to become? And this is the reward for everybody that's watched past 30 minutes in the show, is they get the little sneak peek. So what is it that you kind of dream or plan for Hello Custom's customization?
Yeah, so right now, Hello Custom is a baby. It's an AI. It's a baby that's learning, right? So it's getting ever more smart, right? And AI is just naturally getting way more diverse. So it's really cool launching like an AI product right now where AI is getting way more diverse. So like the sky's the limit, and what I think we can do with just the power of AI and what things that we can kind of integrate into. But being that our tool is specifically for Etsy, I think we are limited to, at least right now, just text-based personalization. A lot of people want to do image personalization, but there isn't a place on the listing for them to upload an image. Typically, they buy the product and they message you or they email you over the graphic post purchase, and then there's not a way to like track that, grab it, upload it. So we're not really able to, just by the sheer nature of Etsy and their API, we're not able to do images, at least yet. But with the name personalization, so typically I would say like 80% of our sales are now just like name and date. That's the biggest one. You can put a name on anything, a date on anything. You get a little bit more you know, unique when you want to put a phone number on something or an address on something, like you were saying. To give you an example, like first Christmas in our new home address. That's a good one for address.
Okay. Oh, like a card, like a postcard or a card or something.
Exactly. So, but the big one is name and date. So right now we just have the ability to tag a text element as name. So like whether it's one name or two names, a list of names, Stephen and Destiny, Stephen, Destiny, Theo, and Chloe, all of that will get into that one text box. But some people have designs where they want like one name here, one name here, one name here, one name here. And maybe like the birth flowers or something for a Mother's Day product. Is we don't have the way to kind of break that up. So right now we're actually working on the ability to have like name 1 tag, name 2 tag, name 3 tag. So the first name that it finds will go to name 1. The second name it finds will go to name 2. So just to kind of just making it more granular and more user friendly, I think is kind of at least Hello Custom 2.0, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, gosh, that's exciting. I mean, I know that's going to be exciting for a lot of Etsy sellers, a lot of Kittl users. I actually already messaged some of our what I would consider top tier personalization Kittl sellers on Etsy. I've already sent them the link to check out Hello Custom. This has been great. Thank you so much for sharing that demo with us. I'm excited to see what people do. I'm excited to see like where people take their Etsy shop, especially going to the next level with personalization and making it super easy with Hello Custom. So what do people need to know specifically? Of course, I'm going to have things linked down in the description for them to check out. You know, is there any other way that they can find you, or is there any other information they need to know about before we sign off here?
Yeah, so if you want to check out the product, hellocustom.io is our website. If you want to, I have a YouTube channel as well. So at Hello Custom is our YouTube channel. I go over a ton of Etsy related stuff for Etsy print on demand, kind of showing my journeys, you know, tips and trainings there. But my last piece of advice for anyone who's considering either Etsy print on demand or even personalization in general is right now, I would say 99% of people doing print on demand on Etsy are not doing personalization. So if you're looking for that to be a top 1% or, you know, stand above 99% of the competition, take action, add personalization to your shop. And I promise it's changed my life, and it can change your life too, which is why we built the software. So my last piece of advice would be like, take action.
Absolutely. Well, everyone check that out, please. The link is in the description. Please also don't forget to subscribe to Kittl if you haven't already. And again, if you've watched to this point, thank you so much. We appreciate it. So yeah, don't forget to check out Stephen's channel on YouTube, subscribe to Kittl, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.
Thanks, guys.